The girl sat on the edge of a cracked sidewalk, her fingers trembling as she held a sketchbook against her knees. Her hair was thinning, her body fragile. Yet her eyes carried a fire that life hadn't managed to extinguish. Every stroke of her pencil was a cry for survival. She wasn't drawing to chase a dream or impress the world. She was drawing because each picture she sold bought her a little more time to live. And on that bitterly cold evening, as the city rushed by without a glance, one man stopped. A man who had every reason to keep walking. But instead, he did the unthinkable. If stories of kindness and hope move your heart, don't forget to like this video, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness for more powerful true life storytelling. Her name was Emily. She was just 17, but life had stripped away her youth far too quickly. Cancer didn't care about her dreams of becoming an artist, or the laughter she once shared with her friends, or the warmth of her mother's hugs. It came like a thief in the night and left her with hospital corridors, sterile smells, and a battle most adults couldn't even comprehend. But what cancer didn't steal was Emily's will. Even as the treatments drained her strength, even as her reflection in the mirror became almost unrecognizable, she clung to her art. With pencils and scraps of paper, she poured her soul into each sketch. Flowers blooming in cracked sidewalks. Children holding balloons bigger than themselves. A girl standing strong against a storm. Her drawings weren't just pictures, they were pieces of her hope stitched into lines and shades. Yet chemo was expensive. Her mother worked 2 jobs, barely managing to keep a roof over their heads, and every bill felt like a mountain. Emily knew she had to help, so she carried her sketches in a folder and sat outside a busy shopping street, with a small cardboard sign that read, "Art for Chemo." Every piece saves a life. But the city was merciless. People walked past her with coffee cups, shopping bags, and hurried steps, barely sparing her a glance. Some smiled politely, others avoided eye contact, but very few stopped. Emily's hands grew colder as the evening wind wrapped around her fragile body. Still, she whispered to herself, maybe the next person, maybe the next heart. And then fate intervened. Michael was a single father, pushing an old stroller with one squeaky wheel. His daughter Lily, only 5, was humming softly, clutching a worn-out teddy bear. Life had not been kind to Michael either. His wife had passed away when Lily was just a baby, leaving him to raise her alone. He worked as a mechanic, often struggling to put food on the table. The lines on his face told a story of exhaustion and endless sacrifice. When Michael saw Emily, something inside him stirred. He noticed not just a girl selling drawings, but the hollowness in her cheeks, the scarf covering her thinning hair, the quiet desperation she tried so hard to hide. His first instinct was to walk past. He didn't have spare money himself. But then Lily tugged his sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, she looks sad." He paused. He turned back, and what happened next would change all their lives forever. Michael knelt down beside Emily. "Hi," he said softly, not wanting to startle her. "These are beautiful. Did you draw them all?" Emily's eyes lit up with a shy spark. "Yes, I'm trying to sell them. 4 for my treatment." Her voice wavered, almost ashamed to admit it. Michael looked at the drawings. Each one was extraordinary, alive with emotion. He reached into his pocket, knowing there was only a few crumpled bills inside, barely enough for groceries. He swallowed hard. Then he did the unthinkable. He took out all the money he had, every single dollar, and placed it gently on her folder. "I'll take them all," he said, his voice steady, though his heart raced. Emily's eyes widened. "All of them, but this is too much." Michael shook his head. "It's not enough. These are worth far more. And you're worth far more." Tears welled in Emily's eyes. No one had ever looked at her that way, with such sincerity, such belief. Lily smiled and handed Emily her teddy bear. "He'll keep you company," the little girl said innocently. "When you're scared." Emily clutched the bear to her chest as tears spilled freely. In that moment, the cold, indifferent city melted away. She wasn't invisible anymore. Someone had seen her. Someone had cared. Michael didn't stop there. That night, he shared Emily's story online. He posted pictures of her artwork, explaining how she was fighting for her life. The post went viral. Strangers from across the world reached out, donating, buying her art, sending messages of hope. Emily went from a lonely sidewalk to being surrounded by an army of kindness. Weeks passed, and Emily began her treatments with renewed strength. Every time the chemo weakened her, she looked at Lily's teddy bear and remembered the father and daughter who refused to walk by. Michael and Lily often visited her, bringing laughter, stories, and warmth to hospital rooms that once felt so empty. But the greatest miracle wasn't just in the money raised or the treatments that followed. It was in the bond that formed between them. Emily became like an older sister to Lily, helping her draw, telling her stories when Michael worked late. And Michael, he found something stirring in his heart again, something he thought he had buried with his grief hope. Life didn't magically erase all pain, but it created something beautiful out of brokenness. A girl fighting for her life, a father fighting for his daughter, and a little girl who reminded them both that kindness, even the smallest kind, could change the course of someone's destiny. If you're feeling the power of this story, remember to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Every story shared is a spark of light in someone's darkness. Ending years later, Emily stood in an art gallery, her art hanging proudly on the walls. Her hair had grown back, her body stronger, her spirit unbreakable. In the crowd, Michael and Lily clapped the loudest, cheering with tears in their eyes. As she gave her speech, Emily looked at them and said, "I wouldn't be here if a father and his little girl hadn't stopped for me that night. They taught me that kindness doesn't just change a moment, it can save a life." The audience fell silent, hearts moved beyond words. And as the lights dimmed, one truth echoed louder than ever: sometimes the unthinkable act of kindness is the very thing that keeps someone alive.